President Cyril Ramaphosa considering taking the Section 89 panel report on legal review. Of course, report led by Justice Sandile Ngcobo. The panel had basically said that the president may have a case to answer regarding his Phala-Phala Farm robbery in 2020. The spokesperson to the president, Vincent Magwenya, confirming to the SABC that the president is leaning towards taking that report on review. The president currently consulting different stakeholders on the matter, and a decision is expected to be announced soon. Let's talk a bit about this to senior legal analyst and a member of the South African Bar Association, Advocate Romeo Nthambeleni. Let's bring you in now, Advocate. Thanks indeed for your time. So the president's spokesperson saying that President Ramaphosa leaning towards taking this report on review. What would be the premise of taking this report on review? What would it entail, and what would the prospects of success be, if any?
Yeah, thank you very much, Christella, for that important question. There are very good prospects of success to actually bring that report on review on the Section 89 panel, because one, that report is actually based on hearsay evidence, and there is nothing evidentiary that has got weight that said the president cannot actually bring that report on review. So those are very much important considerations that has to be made. And this report is not like the Concord decision, which finds the president having breached the constitution. So when you look at that report, the prospect of success for the president are very high.
I mean, if you look at this report, what are some of the key issues? I mean, it's been described as factually incorrect. We're hearing Ronald Lamola, an ANC-NEC member, also saying he'd be surprised if the president does not take this report on review. What are some of the key loopholes? You're talking about hearsay. What are some of the key loopholes that you think the president would base this review on?
Yeah, look, the most important element is the finding of saying that the president has the prima facie case to actually answer. That is the first point that we actually have to look at, and on what basis. And then from there, we move to the channel of reporting, whether the president has reported it and he has actually not reported it. And also the interpretation of the law in terms of tracker when it talks about theft. Can you extend it to speak about theft in a private residence of a person? And then that is quite of significance, importance. And and also the issues relating to the reporting of money and the issue relating to a transaction, and what is the meaning of transaction in law? That is very, very, very much important. There are so many wide gaps that are opened in terms of that report that make it susceptible to to review, Christopher. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, I want to talk a bit about that. This is something that seems to have come up quite often. Talking about PRECA, what does it then say? Because we're talking about theft, and theft that has taken place at a private residence, at the home of the president, or the farm of the president in this instance. What does it then say regarding, I guess, the reportage of that kind of crime taking place at a private residence, if I may?
Yeah, look, there's no clarity when it comes it comes to the PRECA relating to. It speaks about theft, and when it speaks about theft, it's talking about institutions and reporting to certain specific persons in those particular institutions. And without us taking this matter to court for the court to actually give us a proper interpretation of theft and how it can actually be extended, we can only do a guesswork in relation of what the requirements of PRECA are. What we know is that there is a requirement in terms of the constitution that actually has to be complied with. And second, whether the president has actually breached that can actually be done when the parliamentary process has actually done its work. And the parliamentary process is the last step that actually has to happen. But now we start with the parliamentary process when we don't have any other answers from the law enforcement agencies that have done investigations. In this kind of.
Are you saying it's being then done vice versa? Because what we're hearing, I guess the story or the saga around Phala-Phala keeps, changing every now and again. But are you saying that the parliamentary process then should actually be the last process after the law enforcement agencies have dealt with this particular matter, or there is some kind of clarity on, whether the prospects of this review would be successful or not after going through that process?
Absolutely, Criselda. Why do we have no law enforcement agencies that are doing the investigations? The Parliament does not have the powers, or the police to Parliament to go and do investigations and make a finding. They rely on law enforcement agencies that actually have to do their work and make a finding. And when the finding has been made, then they can be able to make a determination on impeachment proceedings and the removal of the president. So we don't start at the end, And we know that there are various institutions that are actually looking into this matter. And then when those institutions have not made a determination, then why are we jumping the gun? That is an important question that we should be asking ourselves, at this juncture.
Thank you very much indeed. We look forward to more insights from you, Advocate, when we get the opportunity to do so. A senior legal analyst and member of the South African Bar Association, Advocate Romeo Nthambeleni. Thanks indeed for your time here on the program.